You have a lot of history going back with Jeff Blashill, the only coach you've known. What was your reaction to what's been happening here?
Um, I mean, it's a tough feeling. You don't want to see anyone get fired or lose their job. It's just another emotion for another disappointing end to the season, and we don't want to continue to be in this spot much longer. So, um, I, I think everyone heard what Steve had to say yesterday, and they're looking for different answers, and it's a bit of a wake up call for us again.
How did you find out?
I found out through my agent. I think shortly after it was on Twitter. So yeah.
And just, I mean, you brought up a new coach. What kind of is your anticipation there for how things might change?
Well, I certainly don't have that answer. I think that decision is up to Steve, and it who he wants to bring in, who he feels best fit is going to be the best fit. So as a player, you show up day one of training camp ready to work, ready to have a great season, and um, try and learn from the new coach and whoever that may be.
And just lastly, was it just a matter of pain management down the stretch that led you to surgery? I know you hadn't been practicing there for a while before you.
Yeah, it was pain management. Not I wouldn't say pain management. I would say just being in pain and making the decision to have a 2 weeks ahead of recovery for making sure I'm ready for training camp. And the surgery was a success, and I will be ready for the start of training camp and have a good summer of training.
Thanks.
Ansar Khan.
Yeah, Dylan, just when you look at the season as a whole, uh, not just the last 2 months there, but just does it feel like some progress was made, or does it feel like took a step back as a team?
I think certainly reflecting on the season, I believe that we're in a better spot today than we were a couple of years ago. You draft players, and for the last number of years we've just been acquiring a lot of draft picks, and um, it gets frustrating when you don't see that. You lose NHL players, and you don't get anything in return, and to now finally see the Lucas Raymonds and the Mo Siders come into our lineup and have an impact. It certainly gives me hope for the future, because they're really good players, they're really good people, really high character guys. So I think as now that they're starting to come, it makes me excited and more optimistic about the future. Absolutely.
Steve stressed patience yesterday when talking about the rebuild. Now, you've been here throughout the whole process. As a player, is it difficult to stay patient?
Um, I think it's difficult to be in this position again, yes, but I love being a Detroit Red Wing, and I love the passion that our fans brought to the rink this year. I love that we have a great group of young players, and a great locker room that has certainly, made the hard times, much easier, showing up to the rink with going to battle with good people. But I don't think anyone wants to be in this position for forever, for much longer, certainly. So um, there is frustration, but I do understand what Steve is trying to do, and what the end goal is, and I think that's to win the Stanley Cup for our fans, and for uh, the city of Detroit. So I believe in that, and I'm excited for the future.
Just one more, Dylan. Michael Rasmussen finished strong. Just your thoughts on his play and just his development, especially the last month or so of the season.
Yeah, I think that's been in the works for the couple years he's had. I thought last year he had a really strong season, and then showed up this year in great shape. He trained hard. He stayed in Detroit. He worked on his skating with our skating coaches all summer, and I think at some point in February, March, they put him on the wing, and he really started to use his speed. And he's a big man, and he can really skate. So he started to use his speed, and with the injuries we had, he kind of bounced back to center and played a little bit of wing, kind of played everywhere. But he played really well, and he played with confidence. And I really hope, and I know that as he continues in his career, with that confidence and with that skating ability, with his big size, he's going to be a dangerous player, and a really important player for our team.
Thanks, Dylan.
Max Boltman.
Hey, Dylan, you were talking about kind of the feelings of guys like Moritz and Lucas coming in, and I'm curious, does that make it easier to be patient as a player, knowing kind of, hey, this is what this process is, this is what's on the way, or does it make it harder because they're here and you're ready to start going?
Well, first of all, I think I misanswered that question and just talked about those guys when the question was about the season overall. And I really do think this season there was a lot of positives where we played well to start the year, and after the trade deadline, we traded away some key pieces, some key guys in the locker room that were really character guys, and they always played hard and they always played well. And even when times were bad, they always showed up, and we really missed that down the stretch. But really up until then, I thought we were very competitive, and we went into games and we wanted to win. We knew we could win, and that was a really good feeling. And all of a sudden, after the trade deadline, we had that month of February where it was a lot of practicing and not many games, and we played against high competition, and it kind of just, we didn't match up well, and it took our confidence away, and really set us back in what we wanted to do that year. So that was definitely disappointing. But to answer your question, Max, I think seeing those guys, they're great players, but you look at the teams in the playoffs, they have four lines that have great players and 60. So it takes a lot, and I know the team is committed to hopefully getting there sooner rather than later. So I think I have been patient, and I continue to have patience, but also want guys to know, and I try and lead by example in the way of we can try and change this ourselves as well. And one guy can't do it, but you get a good core of guys that we can start to really move this thing in the right direction.
And then could you kind of put Tyler's season in perspective for us? Like what, I think earlier in the year you said you were proud of kind of the season that he was having. What do you think of when you look back on him getting to 30 goals, 60 points for him?
Yeah. Well, I think I watched the game from home, and I was upset. I wanted to be there for that. And you just look, if you want to watch the clip and look at the reaction at the bench after he scored his 30th goal, and you see the smiles, the guys literally jumping up and down. That's all you need to know about Tyler right there. He's a great teammate. He's a great friend, and he works his butt off. He comes to the rink and works and plays hard, sticks up for his teammates, and this year he scored a lot of big goals, and he had a really, really good year. So it's a pleasure playing with him. And you know what, I think just that clip, I watched it, and I was really proud of him, and that's all you need to know, is just to see how much he's loved in our locker room and how great of a team player he is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Brad Galley.
Hey, Dylan, we peppered you on questions for about over a year, almost 2 years, about being a captain, how you were going to lead, what your message was going to be in the room. But the best way to lead is often by example. And I mean, you were on pace for a career year before the surgery. What do you make of your season overall, and how big was it for you to have the season that you had in front of this young group?
I think it felt good to get back to the way I know I can play, and I really felt came into this year and wanted to drive the play and use my skating ability and kind of relax and just play, and I felt there was a lot of adversity and some things in my control, some things not in my control that kind of happened, and a lot of distractions. And I was proud of myself how I kind of just tried to stay consistent in uh, my character and how I showed up to the rink and how I was there for the guys, and it was difficult at times, but I think I was most proud of that.
How important is it for you to get a deal done, an extension done this summer, and how confident are you that a deal will get done?
I'm pretty confident. I haven't been in this position with Steve, so I'm excited to uh, see what he has to say, and I'd really like something to get done. So yeah, I think my agent hasn't. I've just been talking with him, so I don't know if there's been conversation yet. So we're just kind of waiting to hear.
Good to see you, man, on the bookshelf, getting classier and classier every time we Zoom with you.
Thanks, Brad. Needs more trophies.
Ted Colfin.
Hey, Dylan, good to see you. I mean, following up on Brad's question, I mean, could you even envision yourself being anywhere else, really? I mean, in a way of speaking, I mean, you seem you're so entrenched in the area. I mean, have you ever given any kind of thought that way?
No, not really. I think just as I've gotten older and more experienced in the league, you and I have really seen it firsthand with some of my past teammates and friends that have really learned the business side of the game, and um, I've been fortunate enough to be here for just finishing my 7th season, and I really love being a Red Wing, and I love being the captain of the team, and I think this team is going to do special things in the near future. So I don't really envision myself being anywhere else, but I also do understand there's a business side of hockey, and so to answer your question, Ted, no.
No, it's a good answer. As far as, I mean, you kind of alluded to it before, but do you think in a lot of ways this was your best season professionally? I mean, just the way you rebounded that way and just the focus. I mean, was there a lot of positives personally to take out of it that way?
I do think it was. I felt at times I could, take over a game and be a big difference maker. So I hadn't had that feeling in a while, and that's confidence, and I really prepared as much as I could last year after being injured as well. But I felt I was very prepared and had a great summer, and did a few different things, and it really worked out for me.
And just last one. I mean, Steve brought it up yesterday too about just the problems defensively. I mean, why don't you think it just ever clicked on the defensive side of things? I mean, it seemed like you guys struggled as the year went on too. I mean, any rhyme or reason for it?
I talked about communication a lot, especially after some tough losses, and I watched the playoffs last night, and you watch the teams that are there, the 6 teams, and I think about how they play, and you know, they work together so well by communicating and moving the puck when they're going back for pucks on breakouts, and they get out of the zone pretty quick, and when they do get stuck there, they're all talking and pointing and screaming at each other. So I think as a young team, we lacked in that, and there wasn't a lot of talk out there, and you know, I think guys have to learn that the more you talk, the more it just helps everyone out.
Sounds good. Thanks for this, Dylan.
Art Regner.
Hi, Dylan. First of all, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good? I mean, I know you said you're on schedule, but when I think core surgery, I think of Cabrera and Verlander, who both had a rather lengthy recovery from this, but you're feeling good. Will you be on the ice soon?
Yeah, I do feel good. The first week was really tough, but you know, I'm up moving now and upright, so I think I've been doing treatment at the rink, and so I think I'll be on the ice hopefully, you know, when I'm scheduled to. So when they give me the green light to go out there.
You know, last season you also were recovering from the neck injury, and I'm not sure, but it may have been maybe the longest you were off the ice, maybe since you were a little kid playing hockey. Was that beneficial from the standpoint of letting you clear your head and just get away from things and settle it down? Do you look at it as being not a positive thing so much, but kind of allowing you to recharge off the ice as being off the ice, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I do. I really do. And um, yeah, it helped a lot, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess you could call it.
And finally, Steve said something interesting yesterday. He very complimentary towards Jeff and the program that he ran as the Red Wings head coach, but he said he thought the team had plateaued, which is an interesting word to use. Did you feel that regardless of how hard you tried, and effort was really never much of an issue with the team this year, that no matter what you guys did, that you had reached the plateau, that this was about as good as it was going to get? I know it's a difficult question for me to ask, but did you get that sense too?
I don't think, as a player, I don't think we ever got that sense. We knew what we had done, and we knew what our game was like when we were playing well, and we just continued to search for it and tried a lot of different things, changed up structure, changed lines, a lot of things, and it just didn't get back there. And at times it did, but it consistently didn't get back there, and we didn't string enough wins together to keep us in the race and keep us competitive. So you know, I listened to Steve's comments, and you know, I really do believe and agree with what he said about Jeff and how he really kept this thing together, and you know, like everyone knows, he's a great person, and he really did just he was you know, coming to the rink, you know, we knew what we were going to get, and he was consistent with that, and you know, I thank him for his 7 years.
Thank you, Dylan. Best of luck, buddy.
Last question, Kevin Allen.
Hey, Dylan, if you watched the Yzerman press conference, you know, he's said that what he appreciated about Nedeljkovic was in his exit interview, he really sensed that he still had a positive attitude. He wasn't run over by the season. What were your impressions of Nedeljkovic, you know, having played with him last season?
Well, I think his mindset, you know, even after tough games and tough stretches, he was always the guy to keep his head up and say, it's all right. I know I got better, you know, and
Yeah.
and he was very positive, and I think he worked extremely hard in practice, and you know, he's just going to get better. He's first full season in the NHL. I think a lot of people don't understand that with the COVID year being a short year, and the year before that as well, where COVID kind of delayed, it was also a short year. But this is a lot of guys' first full year, and I don't even know how many players that it was that for us, but it's a lot of them, and we didn't really get a break. We had a very weird February. We had a little bit of a break at Christmas with COVID, but it really felt like a long season because we hadn't been in this position before to play 82 games, and I think Ned is only going to get better. Lucas Raymond, Mo Sider, they're only going to get better with more experience, and knowing when you get to February, March, it's a grind, but you have to have the energy. You have to change how you train and change how you prepare to be ready for those games, and it's only going to get more so when we're hopefully going into deep playoff runs. But I really was impressed with Ned and how his everyday approach never wavered through the good or the bad, and I really applaud him for that.
And then just a quick final question. You've talked about, how you felt about the season and, where you're at, but as team captain, like, where do you think your team is at? Obviously they, need to get away from this for a little bit and think about it, but do you think, is the general idea of this team is, we were better than we showed last year, and, will he be, I can't wait to get back and kind of prove that we're not the team that we were last season? Where's their attitude?
Well, I think, Kevin, it's pretty difficult I've obviously had some time away to reflect with not playing the last 2 weeks, but it's hard this soon. You're still digesting everything, and Jeff and Doug Huda, Jeff Slako, they just were let go. So there's a lot going on, and I think when the new coach is hired and having conversations with him, you really get an idea of what next year is going to be like. And yes, personally, you reflect and think about it. And as the captain of the team, I really believe my message to some guys when they were leaving to go home or go to World Championships was, you got your feet wet this year, but next year we got to start to take this thing over. And that was my message.
Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate it.
All right, those are all the questions we had this morning. Dylan, thanks for your time. And we'll be
Thank
back
you,
this
guys.
morning.
I would like to thank all members, the media. Thank you guys for your patience this year and for another season.
Thanks,
Awesome.
man.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
We'll be
Dylan.
back at 10:30
Thank
this
you.
morning with Tyler Bertuzzi.